Hey there. In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to generate 5 to 10 qualified business loan leads directly to your CRM every single day. This is the exact system that we use to generate high quality leads in real time. So you can actually turn these qualified leads into funded deals. That means qualified lead, application, approval, and actually funded deal. Before we get into it, if you don't know me, my name is Isaac Wood, running paid acquisition campaigns to help generate qualified and exclusive leads on a pay per lead basis. We're working with direct lenders and brokers who have at least a couple salespeople. Some of our clients have upwards of 80 salespeople, just to give you a little range of the scale and the size of businesses that we're working with. But ultimately, all of the businesses that have decided to partner with us are scaling and looking to add more funded deals into their pipeline every single month. Now, we're not talking about 5 to 10 new leads per month like a lot of other lead generation agencies. We are specifically talking about 5 to 10 qualified and exclusive leads every single day. That's well over 150 exclusive qualified business loan leads every single month for our clients. And so, what we're doing across campaigns, we're doing well over 1,000 qualified leads in a given month. And so this is the process that we're battle testing every single day. We're not just teaching theory here. This is what we're actually doing to help get these results. So I'm going to be covering exactly what you need to do in order to achieve this for yourself. By the end of the video, you'll understand the exact system that we use to convert these leads into funded deals at a rate most brokers, most lenders think is completely impossible. And here's exactly what we're going to cover. 3 parts, one system, and every single piece is aligned so we can actually turn those leads into funded deals. First, we'll talk about ad messaging that's qualifying. So in detail, we're going to talk about why business loan conversion starts before the lead even completes their lead inquiry in the first place, and what your ads actually need to do to attract business owners who really qualify for funding. Any lead gen agency, anybody who just learned how to do Facebook ads can generate 500 leads in a day. Most of them are going to be tire kickers. They're not going to be qualified. They're not going to have the revenue needed. And so we're going to show you exactly what you need to do and what you need to avoid. Next one here is the nurture sequence that warms leads. So how we're actually using value dense sequences to warm those leads. So when they actually speak with your sales team, they actually convert into submitted applications into those funded deals. And we're going to be using principles like speed to lead and omni-channel follow-up. Third one, 3 conversion principles. So we're going to be talking about how brokers can close at a high rate once they're actually getting these folks on the phone ranked in order of impact. So it all starts here with the ad. This is going to be your first filter. Everything starts with your value proposition and ultimately what's communicated inside of your ad. And so your ad creative is what the end user or what the business owner is actually clicking on. In this case, we're talking about on Instagram and on Facebook. And so they're going to be seeing this on their feed. They're actually going to be clicking on it. Why are they clicking on it? Because it resonates with them. The value that you're suggesting in your ad is actually getting them to be like, hey, this is something that I want and I want it now. This is the first filter in the conversion system. So if you get this wrong, everything downstream will suffer and you're just going to have a broken system and you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. If your ad is attracting tire kickers or price shoppers or just generally unqualified leads, no amount of follow-up is going to save you. You're going to be dead before you even start. You're going to waste a lot of money. Facebook's algorithm will also continue to find worse fit leads. So it actually gets worse and worse, and that negative impact compounds over time, right? Because Andromeda is so sophisticated and it operates based on recency. So if you're continuing to send it back, hey, we're getting leads, these leads are all bad quality, it's going to think that, hey, you're actually wanting these types of leads. And so it's going to continue to go and find those. So you got to really make sure you're getting in front of that before it even starts to happen in the first place. Now, thing you absolutely want to consider and understand here, bad ad targeting is going to be an absolute campaign killer. What I mean by that, most of the messaging is going to inform your targeting, right? Vague, get funding copy, misleading promises, optimizing for cheap leads, and startups that have no revenue. are all things that I hear and see when in speaking to business owners. Vague copy like, "Hey, get funding." Misleading promises, optimizing for cheap leads, getting startups with no revenue who are flooding your CRM. Like all of this is going to be a result of your messaging not hitting the mark in the first place. You need to be explicitly clear. You need to pre-qualify your leads inside of your ads. You need to be specifically talking to exactly the business owner that you want, right? The minimum revenue requirements, the minimum time in business. What does their business look like? What sort of industries are they in? You need to be able to call that out directly. And in doing so, that's going to be attracting people who look like the ad. It's a very common and a tried and true direct response technique that you call out your audience. Every single headline on any web page you've ever used or converted on has called out the audience, saying, "Hey, business owners who are doing over 200K in annual revenue." That's going to be your first step, making sure that you're calling out your specific audience and you're speaking to value propositions that they actually care about. Once they've actually clicked on your ad, they're going to be landing on your landing page. We're talking about this already. If your landing page is vague, it's not calling out, it doesn't seem like it's directly for them, then you're going to have a bad time and you're going to get people to bounce. And so you're going to be getting people to click on the ads, and then you're going to get people who are not converting. If you are getting people to convert and they aren't and your messaging is not aligned with the exact types of businesses that you want, then you're just going to get bad fit leads in the first place. The one big thing too that I want to make sure to really emphasize is optimizing for lead cost is not always going to be your best bet. At the end of the day, you always want to be focusing most explicitly on your cost of acquisition or your CAC, right? This is the only number that really matters when it comes to scaling, right? So a $125 lead that funds is infinitely better than a $40 lead that ghosts and you never get in touch with them and you buy hundreds of leads at $40 a lead, but if they don't convert, then it's not going to work out for you in the end. You buy $125 dollar lead that ultimately converts. It might cost a little bit more upfront out of pocket, but it's going to come around in terms of they're going to be more responsive. They're not going to be a tire kicker. They're going to be more well qualified for you and your business. So just something to think about when you're doing your own financial modeling and you're doing your own numbers. The next step here is the nurture sequence. So once we've generated the lead, they have clicked on the ad, it's resonated with them, they've gone through our form, they've qualified themselves. Now they've become a lead. In many cases, this lead is going to be still not quite ready to make a decision. They have high intent. They are somebody who has the problems that you're specifically solving for, but if you don't have the systems in place to capitalize on this attention and turn it from just interested and aware into highly convicted and actually your end customer, you're ultimately not going to have a business because you're not going to be making any money, right? So the first thing you always want to focus on here and optimize for this, no matter what, is speed to lead. So that means getting back to your leads within 60 seconds. They just filled out your form. They're warm now. You want to have a dedicated caller to be reaching out. This isn't your closer if they're already going to be stacked up with meetings all day trying to close deals. You need to have somebody who's available to reach out and get in touch with that lead the moment it hits your CRM. It's a very simple process to do this. All you need is a simple zap that notifies your sales team inside of a Slack channel. You can have email notifications as well. You can send it to whatever your internal team notification is if you're using Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever you're using. Um, Whatever the moment the lead hits, hey, sales team, new lead, this is what their business is, this is their phone number, this is their email address, and here are some basic stats on the business and what they've actually submitted. So when your rep calls them, they can have a little more context into what they look like and they can tailor the conversation, right? Creating a more personalized experience versus just, hey, I saw you fill out the form, like, what do you want, right? You can have a little bit more of an additional higher touch, which separates you from the pack when it comes to creating a better experience. In an industry where there's a lot of players, your service is going to be something that is going to win out in the end. Next one here, omni-channel follow-up. So if you're not reaching out to your leads on all the platforms, then you're going to be leaving lots of money on the table. Call, text, email. That is an absolute minimum. You need to be doing that. Also, I recommend reaching out to them on other social platforms. LinkedIn is huge these days. Oftentimes, I'll get a reply in an email. They won't reply back for a period of time, but you continue to follow up with them on their socials. Like you DM and connect with them on LinkedIn. You continue to send them sales assets. You connect with them on Instagram. Like there are a lot of different places where you can get that attention where their guard will not necessarily be as high to continue to just move the ball forward, right? So you want to move that lead closer to making a decision with every single follow-up. Some folks are going to answer a cold call. Some business owners are happy to answer cold calls. Some people just like to do business over text. Some people are only going to reply over email. So you got to really make sure that you're covering all of your bases, or else you are going to not convert at the level that you should be. So each channel will catch a different type of person. Like some people are much more into watching videos. So if you send selfie videos, it's going to be a better case than somebody who's only looking for texts, right? You're never going to explicitly know this until you have the data at scale, and then you can start to tailor things. But especially when you're just trying to get your conversions dialed in, you want to be everywhere and you want to be just doing more follow up. And the last one here is building trust with value dense content. So every single touch, that means like every outreach, every email, every text, every DM should answer a frequently asked question. It should provide some value. When people ask me, what does value mean? Value is very simple. Like, does it teach them something? Is it giving them a little nugget of information or a actionable step or a tip that they can use to solve the problem that you're specifically charged with facing, right? Oftentimes, the easiest way to think about this is just what are the top 20 frequently asked questions for your business, right? You can use your sales calls. You can use your emails of all deals closed won. You can look at your comments on your content, looking at what people are asking. You can check the recordings of customer success calls or onboarding calls. Just use all the data that you have from your existing customer base, and you can even just plug it into a Claude project, create a project inside of Claude, and then you just prompt it and you ask it, what are our top 20 FAQs? Help me come up with some content ideas that are specifically solving our top 20 FAQs. And so you can break those out. And then when you have sales calls and people are saying, hey, I have some questions about pricing, or hey, I have some questions about your case studies, who are you working with? Or hey, I have some questions about your process. You'll already have content built that's both video and text that you can send them to preempt those questions or uh, get them answers after they've asked them. So what you're really doing here is simulating a long-term trust building process, and you're compressing it into a shortest time period as possible, right? If you can get somebody to watch and listen to 20 different very brief videos and they see your name, they hear your voice, they're going to trust you a lot more than than in the same scenario where they haven't heard from you between the time that they've submitted their lead form and they've booked a call with your sales rep to go through their application, right? Building trust takes time, and you want to just try to manufacture more and more trust building by creating content. Just plain and simple. And in general, when you're doing outreach, you want to use a conversational and a casual tone in your outreach, in your emails, in your DMs. Break the pattern. Everyone's using AI to write messaging nowadays. A lot of it sounds very robotic. So break the pattern, provide something unexpected, make a joke, be a human ultimately, because people want to do business with other humans. And so if you can really prove that you know what you're doing, you're building value by helping solve their problems before you've asked for a dollar, then you're going to have that much more of a likelihood of actually closing the deal. So here are 3 key conversion principles that will help impact your close rate. So add to call alignment, right? So if your ad implied very easy approval, but your call is full of qualification questions, that's going to add some friction to the process. So I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, but you need to match what you promise to what the actual experience is. You can't say it's fast, quick, and easy, but have a really long, drawn out process. That's simply going to not be congruent with their perception, what they believe should be the reality. And as such, they're going to just go with somebody who they believe is more aligned with doing what they said they were going to do, right? It ultimately just comes down to trust. You got to have alignment with your messaging that begins in the ad, with your landing page, on your inquiry, on your application, and speaking with your salespeople, right? In this business and in this industry, you're going to have to be consistent. You're going to have to be following up with high level persistence. But if you're not going to be aligned across the board, it's just not going to work out. Next one here, speed of response. So you want to call very, very quickly. We've already touched on this, but this is truly like a massive lever once the lead has actually been generated. This is the number one thing to focus on once your lead has been generated and is now in your ecosystem, right? It's worth repeating because most people forget this and they say, oh, yeah, we're replying quickly. We have an auto text that goes out. It's automatically happening. But how many times are you actually manually calling them? How many times are you manually sending them a quick selfie video or even just a regular video that's templatized, introducing yourself, saying, hey, this is Isaac. I'm from this brokerage. I just wanted to reach out to put a face to a name and just walk you through our application. I've included a booking link in this email or in this text, and just click that and I'll hop on a call with you and we'll walk through. It'll be super low pressure. Just want to give you the options if it's a good fit to see if we can work together, right? Very, very simple. Just again, acting like a human. And then the last one here, I've already touched on this one as well, but persistence, especially early on, you need to dial 3 to 5 times a day at minimum. That's 3 to 5 touches over the phone. You got to be reaching out via text. You got to be reaching out via email. That includes automated texts that are coming from your email sending software. Also, that means like manual outreaches. You need to be connecting on LinkedIn, following and DMing on all the other social platforms. You need to get in touch with them until they tell you yes or they say no, right? Most brokers, most folks are going to be just stopping after one attempt. You're leaving so much money on the table if that's the way that you're operating. You have two options. You can continue to be professionally persistent, in some cases annoy them, but oftentimes people who are business owners, they're busy, right? They had a moment to fill out your form online. They're scrolling, they're sitting in their office, they're scrolling for a moment. They say, hey, this looks like an interesting ad. They click on it, submit your form. But then one of their colleagues walks in, or their head of sales walks in, or a customer walks in, and they need to manage that. So if your salesperson has reached out in the first 60 seconds, great. They're going to have the most likelihood of capturing that attention right there. But it's not always the case, right? So what you need to do is you need to continue to stay front of mind. Call them. They see that you reached out 2 times, 3 times, 5 times. You got to actually simulate, hey, I actually am trying to get in touch with this person to help them, right? They've submitted a form. They've established that they have intent. They have a problem that they want solved. If they didn't believe that they needed it solved, then they wouldn't have submitted the form in the first place. People don't just like put their information on the internet. They know they're going to get hit up. They know they're going to get called. So you really just owe it to the business owner to continue to follow up until you get a no. Plain and simple. Now, the challenge that most brokers are doing right now is they're buying the wrong thing. I'm talking to 20 owners a month of brokerages, direct lenders every single month. And I'm hearing the same things over and over again. Recycled aggregators are selling leads to 5 other brokers. Flat retainers have zero accountability. If you're just going with a direct marketing agency, the metric that actually matters is going to be lead cost, and it's cost to acquire a funded deal, right? So you might have a cheap lead that's shared. You might be working on retainer with somebody who's just spending your budget, but has a flat retainer, right? The challenge with the shared leads is you're the 5th person calling, or worse, you're the 20th person calling. The deal has already been funded at that point. You're way behind the game. It's a race to the bottom. It's a race to zero. With retainers, you're just going to be paying a flat rate. It might be economical. And when you start to make money, it might be good, but you're not going to be aligned in terms of the incentives on a long-term basis. So at some point, the performance will cap. And so you're not going to be consistently aligned to scale the campaigns over time. Now, the solution to that is qualified exclusive leads, right? Business owners who are exclusive to you. They're delivered in real time. They've shared information about their business, like their revenue, their time in business, the fact that they've had no defaults, what industry in, what they need they need the actual loan for, and that's sent to you only. That is the solution. And so we deliver those exclusive qualified leads on a pay per lead basis. And so this system works because every single piece is aligned, from the ads to the filtering system. We help you with the follow-ups if needed. We help assist you to get more deals closed if needed. And so if you're a broker that's spending money on your leads right now that are going nowhere, if you have multiple sales folks, you have multiple sales members on your team who are calling into the void, you're buying aged lists, this is a completely different model. You pay only per lead. And so the difference here is that we eat what we kill alongside you, right? So if we sell you a bunch of pay per leads that don't perform, then you don't buy from us again. And we don't have a consistent growing business. That's great if you're for operators who want to have a business that lasts for a month or two, make a little bit of cash and then go away. That's not how we're operating. We're in this for the long term. We're in this to grow alongside our clients, to help them grow and scale their businesses and make a lot of money together. So if that sounds interesting to you and you are a business lender or a business loan broker and you're looking to scale your sales, you're looking to get more qualified and exclusive leads on a pay per lead basis, then I encourage you to go to the first link in the description below, book a call with us. You'll speak to me directly on a call. We'll have a very basic, direct conversation. I'll ask you some questions about your business, what you're doing for your leads right now, how we could potentially help you get to your goals. And if it's a fit, we'll talk about how to work together. Very simple, very seamless. If you like the video, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.